Hello beaders. In this episode of bead crochet, I've chosen this pattern to show you how to make this pattern. It's a pattern that I've taken out from Pinterest. It's a free pattern, and I'm going to be showing you how to work this pattern. So there is very less details given in this pattern. So it says the circumference is 8 and the repeat of colors is after 68 beads. So that means it's a 8 bead crochet rope, and after every 68 beads there will be a repetition of these arrangement of beads. So this is the arrangement of beads that is listed here. So blue and yellow. So first you will string on 11 beads of blue, then 1 of yellow, then 3 of blue, 1 of yellow, and likewise we will start from here. If you can see the arrow, it says that we have to start here. We'll start threading on the beads in this order, right from beginning from here until you reach the end. So when you reach the end, when you threaded on all the beads, that will be equivalent to 68 beads. So one repeat is 68 beads in this pattern. So when you work this pattern as a tube, so this is how your tube will appear. Okay, that is what is the pattern as suggested in this picture shows. So I have made the same here, but I have used a different color. So don't let us first concentrate only on this part of the tube. So this is since this is a 8 bead crochet rope, I have used a 8 bead starter rope, and I have started my bead crochet from here. So instead of using blue and yellow, I have chosen to use white and red. So wherever there is blue, so instead of blue I have used white, and instead of yellow I have used the red here. So this is my the change of colors that I have applied here. Using this, so I will be later explaining to you how to thread on these beads more efficiently when there is a color change. So supposing you are your pattern shows a different color and you are using a different color, so there are certain easier ways of doing this, which I will be as we proceed in this video I will be explaining that. And then later, after this, what I am going to show you is how to replace these flowers with different colors. So if you want to change in the pattern, so I will be showing you how you will be deciding which are the beads that you should be substituting instead, you changing instead of the where to change the beads, and what and how to do it is what I will be explaining in detail. And one more thing, if you notice, you can see here, see this pattern actually, in this pattern that I've taken out, it shows that, see, one flower is placed here and the next flower is placed to the side, and the next flower is here. But when I worked, but the pattern does not come out like this. The flowers are appearing in a straight line. So sometimes I am not sure whether something is wrong with my way of working, because I am using a starter rope, you see, and I use 8 or 9 beads in the beginning of a different color, and then I start with the original colors. So I don't know if the mistake is because I'm using a starter rope, or is there is something in the wrong in the pattern itself or in the picturization of the pattern. So I am not very sure, but nevertheless this tutorial is going to be about how to use a starter rope and make this pattern, and then how to change the colors when we want to. So here you see that here there's only yellow all over, and in the beginning I started making with only red flowers here and using only red beads also all over here, like as suggested in this pattern. But later I decided to, instead of having a same color flower, I thought we can have multiple color flowers, and then I understood where to make these changes so that I will get the I will be able to make these different colors. So if we add on these beads in the same order, you will get the same one as this. With experience, I know that the arrangement of the beads, if you see here, see, first there are 2 of the same color, then there is three of the same color and again two of the same color. So in this pattern I will find the place where such an arrangement appears. So when I look into this pattern with because I've been bead crocheting for a long time, I can understand the arrangement of the beads and how it goes. So I can see that there is two yellow here, and then there is three yellow here, and then there is two yellow here. So this is the only place where yellow is repeated more than once. See, in all other places you can see yellow is just one, and one here also, and one here, one here, and one here. So yellow, this is the other, these the single yellow, or in my case the red, is these are the ones surrounding. So these are the ones that you see in the diagram. So only place where you can see the multiple of this yellow is in these three places. So starting from here, so here there is two yellow, and here there is three yellow, and again here there is two yellow. So these places are the ones which make up this flower here. So instead of using yellow here, I will just interchange it with the color that I want. So I have to make a note here, here, and here, and whenever this place appears I'll have to change the color. So that's what I have done here. See here. So instead of using the same red, I have changed it to an orange, and these are the places where I have used the orange beads. In all other places, so because I wanted to have a green, outer border, or placement of these beads, I wanted it in green. So I have changed this one to another different color. So totally I'm using three different colors in this pattern, whereas this original pattern calls for only two colors. I have changed it to three colors. So wherever there is one bead, one of yellow, see, one of yellow here, one of yellow here, and here, and here, and here, in all these places I have used green, and in these three places I have used a different color. So here I have used orange, and here I have used aqua. So in detail, as we thread on the beads, I'll be showing you again in detail how I did it. So this is the tutorial that I'm going to show today, and I'll show you the completed piece, how it appears. So let us begin adding the beads onto the thread in this order. So before that, there are some changes to make. Like I told you, I'm going to be changing the colors of these beads. So what I would want to do is, I want to just make the changes here. I want to write it against the beads so that I don't lose my place. So like I showed you in the sample, instead of the blue, I'm going to be using white. So I'm just going to be mentioning that here. And instead of this yellow, I have decided to use green. Okay, and this yellow no, is not going to be green in all the places. In these three places that I showed you earlier, so this is the one that makes up the flower. So this three places are the ones in the picture where where this flower is made. So this two here, three in this line, and two in this line. So that this is what I have marked here: 2, 3, and 2. So only in those in these three places there's going to be a color change. So I'm going to just mention it, because I'm going to be using different colors. It can either be red, or it can be orange, it can be yellow, or others. Okay, so any other different color. So the same way here also, so it will continue here, and in this place also that will continue. Whereas in all other places it will be blue means white, and this means, this yellow means green. So yellow here only in these three places will be the different colors for the flowers, like I mentioned. So these flowers will be different in each places. So let's move this, and yeah, before I move this paper away, I want to tell you what is the length of the beads that I'm going to be adding. So for my See here, the circumference of this is 8 bead circumference, and I will be needing an 8-inch crochet rope to make a bangle. So to make an 8-inch, to get an 8-inch crochet rope with 8 beads, so I'm going to be, the calculation is going to be like this. So this is a 8 bead crochet rope, and I am going to be needing 8 inches of rope. So 8 times 8 is 64 inches. So the total number of length of beads that I am going to be adding is going to be 64 inches. So that means first I'll add the 68, all the 68 beads from the beginning. I'll add all the beads, and again I'll repeat the same, but in the second time I will be replacing, instead of, if I've added red in the first place, in the second repeat I would be adding an orange, in the third repeat I would be adding an yellow. So this set of beads, 68 beads, will be repeated several times until I get 64 inches of beads on my thread. So as we proceed, we will be making that too. I will be explaining to you how to, when to measure and what are the other details that we should be looking into. So for now, let me bring in all the beads that I'm going to be using. So these are the beads I have chosen. White will be the common color, like I said, and then I will be having green, which is going to be surrounding the flowers. And for the flowers itself, I have chosen these 5 different colors. I may add another 1 or 2 color as we proceed also. And before we move on also, I here what I have made is one repeat of the pattern on a separate piece of thread like this. So this is one repeat of the pattern. This is the beginning and this is the ending. So I'm having this because as a reference, if I keep this and when I thread on one repeat of the beads, I will place it against this and I'll check for accuracy, because accuracy is very important to get the pattern. And to go back to the paper each time and refer and check the accuracy is going to be difficult, because one, we are changing the colors, and two, because it is cumbersome to have a big piece of paper near you and keep checking. So this is a useful tool where you make one repeat of the pattern and keep it ready. So make a knot at either ends so that they don't slip away, and keep that ready. And other than that, I have some small bits of pieces of paper here. This I'll be using to mark off each repeat. So when I complete one repeat of the beads, I will be marking it off with this. That means I will be inserting my needle into this and placing this as a marker to show the repeats. So this is useful because in case there is a mistake in the arrangement of the beads, or if the thread breaks, or if I have to add new thread, I would know the place where the repetition starts and ends. So it will be a lot more easier for me to make those changes as I am threading, or even as I'm making the crochet rope. These pieces of paper which separates the repeats will be very important. And another little bit of information that you would need is, first, when you are going to start to thread on the beads, so even before you make this sample, to start reading from the paper, if you find it a little more difficult to place your finger or to place some kind of a marker, take a paper and cut it into a L, kind of a L shape like this, and place it like this. So this gives you a kind of a reference. So you will first thread on 11 of white and you will move your paper down, then it will be 1 of green, then 1 of white, 1 of green, 5 of white. So this paper helps you as a marker. So this is one small piece of paper that you might need. You could even have a bigger piece of paper or a bigger card cut into this shape so that it is easy for you to move it. So let's begin adding the beads now. The thread that I'm going to be using is cotton thread. I'm using a contrast color to the beads that I've chosen, because I want the thread to be shown on camera. So I'm using a light pink thread, and the needle I'm using is a big eye needle. So because it's easy to thread on, put a thread on this thick thread onto this needle. So this is a big eye needle. The thread is still on the spool of thread, and we are not going to be cutting it until we finish our complete crochet bangle. So it's going to stay like that. So let's begin adding the beads now. So it will be first 11 of white. So the beads may not be in the frame, but I'm just picking. I could just even adjust this a little bit here. Okay, so that's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. And this is 1 of green, 3 of white, 1 green, 5 white, then here is the change. So 2, okay, let me take first red. So 2 of red, 4 of white, 1 of green, 1 white, then 3 of red, 1 white, 1 green. Let me move the paper. Okay, 1 green and 4 of white, 2 of red. Oh, then my red is just under the paper now. 2 of red, 5 of white, 5 of white, 1 of green, 3 white, 1 green, and 14 white, 14, 1 green, and 3 white. Okay, so I've threaded on 1 repeat. So before I move on, I'm just going to move away this paper now. Before I move on, in order to check the accuracy, keep these bits of paper also away. In order to check the accuracy, so this is the beginning and this is the ending. I'm bringing in my sample. I'm just placing it here like this. So this one, hold your beads in either end with your fingers like this and keep it against this and check for accuracy. See, when you check, though the colors are different, you can see that the arrangement of the beads are all correct. So this is the easiest method to cross check your work, because making mistakes in the arrangement of the beads is going to be difficult to alter when we are crocheting. So this is one of the easiest methods for us to check the accuracy. So after doing this, I'm sure that this is correct. So just place this away, and before I proceed to put on the next repeat, I'm going to take this small bit of paper and I'm going to pass this needle through this. Okay, and this is going to stay here as a marker. So yeah, this thing is a little still at the edge. I don't want to have this, so I can take that off, and I want to make sure that I make a hole in the center and pass the marker here. So this marker is going to be there after every repeat, like this. So as when we crochet, we can just pull out this piece of paper. So one repeat is done, and remember, in the second repeat, instead of the red here, we have to use a different color for the flower, whereas the green and the white will remain the same. So I will thread on the rest of the beads, and as I already told you, we will be needing 64 inches of beads in total. So I'll thread on for 64 inches, and then I'll meet you again there. Here I am, after adding several lengths of bead onto the spool of thread. I have added several repeats, and I now want to check what is the total length of the beads that I have added. If you remember, I wanted 64 inches of beads alone. So I'll have to check whether this is 64 inches. And as you can see, the thread is still attached to the spool, and on this end, it is still on the needle. I haven't taken out the needle, and I will take it out once I'm sure that I have enough of beads. So now here, in one part, that is the one which is attached to the spool, I have put on a small tape here so that the beads don't move, and on the end, that is where I've stopped adding the beads, I have also put on little tape here so that the beads don't move, and it's easy for me to measure the length, because if I don't add these stoppers, the beads will move, and I may not be able to measure the length correctly. So now I'm going to take an measuring tape. Okay, can start from either side. So I'm going to start measuring from here. So this is the way you have to measure. Hold it against the measuring tape and measure. Okay, here the tape stops at 60. So I'll mark this place, and again I'll have to check what is the remaining length of beads that I have. So if I'm going to start again from here, you can see that the beads are a little short of 64 inches. So earlier I measured 60, and this is a little less than 4. See, 4 ends here, but whereas my bead ends even before that. So like I have earlier also mentioned, whenever we are going to make a invisible join bangle or a bracelet or an invisible join necklace in bead crochet, we always have to stop at the end of a repeat. So irrespective of the length that you need, it is very important that you stop at a repeat. So a little bit short of 64 inches will not make a big difference, because the bead crochet has a little give, and it can be little it will expand a little. So it is better to have to stop at the end of a repeat. So if you want to reach till 64, you may have to add some more extra beads, which will not be the end of a repeat. So this is the end of a repeat, and I'm stopping before that. So I'm stopping before 64 inches. Like I mentioned, a little lesser is better. Or if we want to, what we can do is, we can add one more repeat of the beads and keep it for safety purposes. Supposing after you work all the beads and you measure the length of your bead crochet rope, and you find that it would be better if you had a few more inches of the rope, then you can make some more rows of the bead crochet rope with the extra repeat of the beads that you have. So once again, I'll come back on that because I'm not sure if I explained correctly. So for safety purposes, I'm going to be adding, or even if you, I'm going to be adding one more repeat of the pattern, because that is just for safety purposes. In case I want some more, I will use it. Otherwise, I will stop at less than 64 inches. I'll stop working at this place, and then this will just be an extra. So it's always better to have a little bit extra than to add more thread and join later on. Okay, so what I will now do is, so I'll go back on this, and then I'll remove this tape and add one more repeat of this. So this is where I stopped, which was little short of 64 inches. So since then I've added on one more repeat. So I'm going to check the accuracy of the repeat with the sample that I have. Okay, so now since it's, let me bring it inside the camera. So this is how I check the accuracy when I'm sure that it is correct. So this is one extra repeat that I have, which will actually be the first part which I will be crocheting into. So the extra part technically will be this last portion. So this last repeat will be the extra one, which I may or may not use.